Hello and welcome to Your Thoughts Podcast. This is Tyler Beck.
I'm Jesse Martinez. I will.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you.
We've got Troy Thomas. We're doing a Zoom call today. How you doing, Troy?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I'm never gonna let you introduce this show ever again. I swear to God. Hey Troy, what's going on, man?
Take it away.
All right, let's do another clap.
Yeah. Here
Okay.
it is.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't get those audio levels.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just straight meta.
We're here with Troy, and we're gonna talk about whatever he does.
Yeah, it's a lot of things now.
Yeah, Tyler knows about it. I don't. I walked into a room, and he was standing on a bookshelf, and that's all I know. That's all I know so
right.
far.
Well, there you go.
So you have a band called Primitive State. You have a podcast called Deplorable Facts.
Mhm.
You also do voice acting, right?
Yes, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's like primarily how I'm making money right now.
How'd you get
Really?
into that? I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like that's your job?
For in the meantime, I'm looking for employment right now because I can't do everything with it right now. But yeah, that's how I'm making money every once in a while. Making like a few $100s here and there. Sometimes like $1,000. But yeah, I voiced a character named Radley on this cartoon called I Have the Power. That's kind of like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, or not Aqua Teen Hunger Force, C Lab 2021, where it's like they take like old footage of like a shitty 80s cartoon and then like they repurpose it for like a new scenes and stuff like that. That was really fun. He was like a main character in it. He's like the stoner like hippie dude. He was like a surfer, and that was a lot of fun.
Can you do the voice?
Yeah, he's like, hey man, like here we go. I'm just gonna go straight through the moon. All right. Look, man, like you gotta worship squirrels because squirrels are your god.
Is that directly from? Are you just making shit up?
I'm kind of making that up, but he does.
Okay.
His like saying is like he has like sayings having to do with squirrels. Like he's just like that's so squirrel.
Oh,
Like things like that. It's very strange.
is that going right on Adult Swim or?
It's actually gonna be a YouTube show.
Oh, shut up! That's so cool.
Yeah, but we're working with like people who are like in like the Teen Wolf show, Riverdale. Yeah, some people from like Hunter x Hunter are in it.
Shut! No way.
Yeah,
You met people who voiced Hunter x Hunter, dude.
yeah. Oh, that's what they tell me. I haven't like talked to anyone in the cast, but no, I assume that.
So is it all set up online? Like you're sending in the files and just communicating with people?
Yeah, so with this project it was interesting because I've never done anything where I had to do like overdubs. So it was like they would send us scenes and they're like, if you can like say the dialogue kind of matching what the mouth is doing, because it's all of the animation is like some of it is they redo some of the animation within like the confines of the scenes they give us, but a lot of it is like here's the animation that we cut up into like these new scenes. So make sure that like you're matching your words with like what the mouths are doing, and that is rough. That's actually it's a lot like anime.
That sounds really rough. That sounds awful.
It's hard. Like yeah, so it's like it'll be like an anime. They'll do this thing where it's just like when you hear the beep, do your line, and that's why like a lot of dubbing in anime, at least like say like the 90s to like 2010 really was like awful.
Yeah.
Because like the performances couldn't really like thrive in anything because they had to like stick to like this regimen of like, okay, I have to say these words and I have to emote within like this time frame, and it's hard.
Wow, that sounds like a job.
Yeah. It's a little bit like a job, but it's like the most fun job ever. Like
That sounds cool, man. Yeah. no
yeah,
doubt.
I got paid like $700 like voicing a stoner surfer. Like it was a blast.
So now let me ask you this, because now I'm curious. How did they pick you for that? Do you have like voices online that they just were like, oh, this guy?
So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's I'll send. It's a lot of like as a voice actor, like a lot of you getting jobs is like you're kind of doing all the footwork. Like you're like you have to send out. A lot of time it'll be auditions. Like I'll have to audition for specific characters, and that's how I got Radley. Sometimes though it is like they'll just be like, hey, send us your demo reel, and then I'll send in my demo reel. And it's like, dude, the statistics of like you getting jobs in voice acting is so insane. Like I feel so blessed because like I'm getting like maybe 4% of the jobs I audition for, and like the average is 2%.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, no way. Okay.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So it's like out of like every 100, you'll get like basically like 2.
That's I'm pretty sure Fiverr. You can just do Fiverr now. That's kind of cool.
I do have
Fiverr,
a Fiverr thing up. I haven't like I should probably advertise it.
Hey, Troy does Fiverr. If anybody wants
yeah, I do
throw that
Fiverr.
out there.
In case anyone like the Radley thing I did earlier.
Podcasting is a good way to advertise it too, because you can just throw out an episode and you're just doing wacky voices.
Yeah, and I was thinking about so far the podcasts I have aren't very wacky, unfortunately. But like was thinking about doing like a voice acting podcast where I'll like see if I can talk to voice actors and stuff like that and throw that onto YouTube. I just started my 3rd YouTube channel, which is called Diet Challenger. And what I'm doing is basically I'm doing like insane diets within 3 days and then documenting it. And right now I'm in the middle of a potato diet, and it's absurd.
Where you just don't eat any potatoes.
You eat only potatoes. You can't have anything on them. It's like just
like, how long?
I'm just doing it for 3 days, just to document how it goes. The calorie.
That's not very long.
It's not very long. But like the thing about specifically this potato diet that's crazy is that like people who are like rail thin will like drop 8 pounds within 5 days.
That sounds unhealthy.
It's not the best.
That sounds like not the best. Yeah, that doesn't sound.
Yeah,
good.
no, I wouldn't suggest anyone doing it. I'm just doing it because I could probably get views, and like I've already I just talked about it on like a friend's Facebook earlier, like yesterday, and like people were like, I want to subscribe to this. I'm like, this seems like it'll be easy.
You're gonna start doing that thing where you get potatoes and you shape it like the food that you want to eat, like a
yeah,
burger.
just little potato slices. Dip it in ranch,
which is potatoes. It's just
yeah.
Have you been doing like just various different meals out of potatoes?
This is like day 1.
Oh, you just started today.
I just started today, and so like
we could give you ideas.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, but like
baked potato, French fries.
Bam.
No, you can't. It's literally just potatoes. You just
they are potatoes. Both of those are just
they are just potatoes.
You can't add stuff, I guess, but
you
can
can't
still cook them the same way.
Yeah. You just dice them. I was thinking about that. I just had 2 like spuds today. And,
cool. Spuds.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I don't have potatoes very often. I was like, this is kind of nice, but I know that like tomorrow
that's gonna suck later.
I hate potatoes. It's gonna be like real fast. There are people who like do like keto very regimentally, like very strictly, who are like, fuck this potato diet thing, like after a day and a half. So I'm really curious where I'm gonna be at.
Tired.
Yeah, I'm probably real tired. You're gonna need some protein. What are you doing?
I know.
Your naps are gonna be fucking wild though. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm up to 3 naps a day.
Oh, yes,
because of this potato diet.
Yeah, I replaced meals with naps.
I didn't wake up from one of them.
Potato coma.
So voice acting is cool. I've never met a voice actor. I've heard of voice actors. I'm not weird, but
it sounds like auditioning is similar to just regular acting. Like you submit your reel or previous work and try to get work like that.
Very much so. A lot of what's fun about auditioning is that in voice acting, most of the time, I want to say 80% of the time, they're like, here's a character, here's lines, do the lines, have it raw audio, don't do anything to the audio, and then send it to us. So it's always fun because it's not like I'm just like throwing out my demos. It's like I'm actually like, oh, here's a new fresh character. I'll figure out like whatever take I need to do with it, and then I'll send it off. With Radley, I was up against like 300 different people, and it was funny because they were like, yeah, just like make it like the most like surfer dude, like, oh man, like that's what like everyone was doing, which is like, hey man, like surf's up. And like, so, but when I read him and then like I saw the what the character looked like, I was like, this is just what's his name from C-Lab 2021, Stormy. I was like, this is just Stormy. So I was like, all right, let's go. And I was like, I could do something kind of similar to Stormy, and then like that just happened to have broken through.
You know what? From now on, I want you to talk like that.
Yeah,
perfect. And but then also when you do your political YouTube channel, just that too. That's just you now to me.
So when you were covering the Kurds in Turkey, What were you seeing? Was there like a lot of conflicts? Were you almost bombed?
Wait,
like,
talk about
what
the
are you
stock market
doing?
now.
The stock
That's
market.
get on Fiverr, and I'm just gonna, for my own personal entertainment, I'm gonna make you talk about things in that
Just
voice.
narrate
Anything. Narrate my sex life right now.
And then he took off his underpants.
Perfect. That's really good.
So what other characters have you done?
A lot of them have been like, I did this closeted gay guy in a podcast called Tagged. His name was Tyler. It was mostly just boom.
It tracks too.
It was mostly just my voice. And then I was this like homicidal killer guy in this thing called Distraught Memoirs of a Sad Boy or some bullshit. It wasn't very good. What else have I done?
Well, you did that.
I did that. Yeah. It hasn't been a bunch, but it's every here and there. Oh, so like I did like a read for like a Legal Zoom local ad.
Oh, that's kind of actually pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so far it's slow, but it's also like you have to do like 100 auditions to get like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Right. Have you thought about making your own kind of series and just doing voice acting like that as well?
I have, and like I was just recently, I did a sketch for a rapper friend of mine. Like he had a falling out with this rapper, and so I was pretending to be him, and I was Walmart Gambino, and that's kind of what, because this guy, he's like like his entire career is basically like, how can I be like Childish Gambino? And so he's like kind of bland, like his music's in my opinion sort of bland, and so we came up with Walmart Gambino. So we have a few sketches that are running along like that. It's kind of, it reminds me of like when Dr. Dre would make fun of Eazy-E in like videos where he's just like, hey, here's Jerry, he's my boss, and like all this stupid bullshit. And so it's similar to that, where it's almost like a 90s beef.
Oh, cool. Is any of this out? Can anybody view this kind of stuff, this kind of content?
I believe the podcast I was in Tagged is coming out, I think, at the end of this month.
Okay.
They haven't talked to me much about it in like the last month, but I think it's towards the end of this month. And I don't know what's happening with the Distraught Boy thing. I almost don't want anyone to listen to it.
Well, we're gonna. So.
Yeah. And I have the power. I think it's going to be on YouTube, likely sometime in the spring of next year.
2021 for those who are already in next year.
Right. Yeah.
This won't come out until probably January, February.
Okay. Oh yeah. So like real soon, or it's already out. I don't know.
Okay, so I listened to your band a little bit. By a little bit, I mean about 4.5 seconds. I just needed to get kind of a gist
vibe
of it, a little vibe. And
And to contrast that, I've listened to your album like at least 3 or 4 times this
he
week.
likes it.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. You sound a lot like Iggy Pop.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Do you like that? Because I like that too. I like Iggy Pop as well. Specifically, I was listening to a song I can't remember the name of, and it just sounded like your voice is nice. Are you singing? Is that you doing that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm about it.
Did you write the lyrics?
Mm-hmm.
Did we mention the band name? It's called Primitive State.
Yeah,
I
Primitive
mentioned it
State.
previously.
I write the lyrics, basically the music.
Who did the graphics? That Florida gun graphic is really cool.
My artist buddy, Caleb Conheady, he's also a tattoo artist, in case anyone is interested. Look him up.
Yeah, I'm interested in tattoo artists. They're usually very attractive.
He's awesome. He does like realistic artwork sometimes that like blows my mind. Like there was like this he like drew like this homeless guy who was smoking out of a crack pipe, and he made like him and the smoke, like the contrast of it. It looks so realistic, and like that's what made me like want to like work with him. Originally, I wanted to work with him because I wrote a screenplay called Reyes Estate, and I wanted him to do storyboards for it. And he started doing that after I saw that, and then that's kind of how we became friends. And then I was just like, "Hey, could you draw this really simple design?" And then he did, and it was cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I like it a lot. I think it's very artistic.
I like it.
Yeah, very original.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know. Florida always seems like kind of a wild card, and so I made it
Yes.
the gun of
Florida man.
America. Yeah,
It is, and that makes sense.
that was
I got
showing.
I got a nose piercing recently. Does anybody notice? Can we talk about it?
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
you had that done
No.
already, but I didn't realize that you just got it done again.
Yeah, I got it done a second time. The first time I did it, I pierced it with a thumbtack in a bathroom, and I just recently went and got it redone because I'm
That's
going
such
through
a high school
going through a
thing to do.
24-year-old midlife crisis at the moment, and I felt like I needed a little bit of change. Yeah.
Looks
At
nice.
least
Thank you, I
at least it didn't
appreciate
get infected.
Hey Troy, have you ever thought of
So
piercing
far.
anything?
Yeah, I had a lip piercing for literally a day, and I
Dude,
was
no
like,
way.
yeah, and I was like, this is dumb. But
is
it's like
dumb.
just for me. Like I was just like, this looks stupid, so I just took it out.
I used to have my lip pierced for a couple years, but it just gets in the way.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
was one thing I noticed.
to
I was
get
just
laggy.
like, it doesn't look good enough for me to deal with this shit, so I just took it out.
That's probably a good call. All piercings are stupid and against God's word.
Yep, yep. Straight from the
Body is a
Bible.
temple. There you go, Mormons. We got you.
So voice acting, primitive state. You've been releasing some covers. You did like a White Stripes one.
Yeah, I've been
Ooh.
doing vocal covers purely just to generate traffic to the page. In fact, I only did like some songs that like I truly like at first because I was just like I kind of just want to do these. I'm gonna be doing songs I don't like just because they're popular and they'll generate traffic because people search for them. Like I'm gonna be doing this song. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Mood.
By who?
24 karat chain, I believe.
What?
Nope.
It's awful, but
Okay.
I'm gonna do it
Okay.
because it's like the biggest song in the world. So
Is it really?
yeah, it's
It would
insane.
be.
It's been
All right,
like
we just lost subscribers because you
Yeah, thanks,
bashed
man.
that song.
Asswipe. It better be good. We need to
sellout. Sorry,
we need to
guys,
boost those up.
but
That's right. You're an honest sellout. That's
Yes.
very rare.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Especially to a hipster like myself. I don't want to admit it at all. So, question: your whole, pretty much life, dignity, anybody who respects you for anything, it's all about your voice. That seems to be it. You sing, you do voice acting, you talk about politics. That's kind of your thing. Dignity, right? What would you do if you lost it? What would be the next move there?
I guess just producing music, like maybe producing beats and just like driving home like advertisements for those.
He plays guitar too.
Oh yeah, yeah. When it comes to the primitive state music, basically it starts out with just me and my acoustic, and I write out everything having to do with rhythm, guitar, and vocals and lyrics, and then my producer Josh Medina. We wouldn't have I wouldn't have an album without him. Like we literally, he's just been a fan of my music. He was just like before we started recording, I think in like 2018. Um, he was just a fan of my music for a couple years, and like he thought it was stupid I wasn't like putting any money towards making an album, and so he's like, why don't you just come down to my warehouse studio that I work for this guy who owns this warehouse. I record bands there. I was like, okay, and he's like, we can jam. I was like, sure. So I went over there and we started playing music, and he was just like, why don't we just make an album? I was like, well, I mean, I don't have money for that. I just make music because it's fun. And he's just like, just we'll make an album.
You don't
And I
have
was
choice.
like,
You're doing
okay,
it.
let's
It's
do
gonna
that.
be fun. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And so he's just like, yeah, well, the money thing, pay me whenever you have $5,000. I was like, okay. So
I don't
that
think I've
debt's
ever
still
just
there.
had $5,000. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean that's making albums. So we made this album, and basically what it was the coolest process making the first album, because basically I would go in there and we would be like, Josh would be like, okay, I want to do this song, and because we really did design this as like, here's a partnership, and I'm gonna kind of have him direct like what songs we really want, and then like if I don't want a song on the album that he does, then we won't do it. But for the most part, he was kind of directing it. So he was just like, okay, let's do say Streetwalker, and I was like, okay. And so I went over there and I got like my guitarist friend Andy Gonzalez, who does a lot of the lead work on it, and Dylan Welker, who does a lot of the lead work on it. And we went over there, and we just had the bare bones on the acoustic and my voice. And then every single time we would go in to record, it was like we were just building a song from scratch for like 6 or 8 hours. And then at the end of the day, we would have like the finished product. And it was so cool because it was like you would go in and you would have no expectations of what this song was going to sound like at the end of the day. And then there it is. And I think that's why the album is as I guess eclectic as it is. Like it's not really shaped to like one sound or anything like that. It's kind of cut up where it's like sometimes it's Western, sometimes it's pop, sometimes it's punk, sometimes it's psychedelic instrumental, sometimes it's just like it's a few different things, and it's all kind of crafted together. And
right. It's not like a drastic change either. Like the cohesiveness of the album itself, it still seems like the same genre, but like within those different elements, you definitely see difference in the tracks.
Yeah. It's just like yeah. 4 seconds.
Yeah. It's a good 4 seconds.
But
one song.
But yeah, that's one thing that I've always really enjoyed people saying about it, because I really had this in mind when I was putting the track list together, was like people are like, this almost feels like a movie, where it's just like the way there's a beginning, middle, and end, and it's very cohesive in that sense. And I've been happy to hear that, because that's exactly what I went for when I was putting the tracks together, like when it comes to the order.
All right, subtle brag. Jeez.
I mean, this is his thoughts.
Quick fact with Jesse Martinez: did you know that the 2 main characters of Mythbusters didn't like each other for 13 years?
I did.
I also just found that out yesterday, and I wanted to talk about it.
yeah. No, it's one of those things where it's just like, they work together really well, but it's just they wouldn't have dinner together. I think that was actually a direct. Oh yeah, okay.
That's it. I hate him.
Oh, did you point at me? Yeah, we don't like each other.
But hey, you guys work together well, and that's how. I don't know if you guys ever listened to the radio show Opie and Anthony, but that's how the Opie and Anthony relationship was.
That's how the Ramones were too.
Some of the best relationships just don't work on a personal level, but work amazingly on a professional level.
Yeah. He gives good head though, so that's good. Yeah.
Got a lot of practice.
It evens out.
It very much evens out. About that acoustic thing you were talking about, me and Tyler have been in a couple of bands for pretty much the majority of being
past 10 years.
I would say puberty and on. That would make sense. And we wrote a lot of our songs on acoustic guitars in our backyard that turned into some of our best work from Elena Avenue. Through the Wreckage was one in specific. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was really fun. That was a lot. Yeah. Anyway. Hi, Troy.
Yeah, all of the Elena Avenue songs, for contrast.
But it's cool that
you acoustic.
And it's cool that you guys bring that up, because I think there is something to just creating a song on acoustic as like a demo, and then bringing it to a studio, and then like figuring out how to like make it better or different sonically. I think there's something to that, because with acoustic is almost like, here's your bass line.
Yeah, it's the bare bones.
Yeah, and how are we gonna put in like the seasonings to like really make this pop? And
electricity.
Yeah. Yes. And no, I think in some ways it's kind of important.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've done a lot of work acoustically transferring it over, but you're talking as if like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I usually am. You're talking as if like you went and like wrote this on acoustic, and then one day you went in and were like, okay, let's record this, but had no idea during the recording how you were going to make it. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Holy crap! So that
was the whole album.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's the best way to do it.
No, that's amazing. What we do usually is we'll write the song, and then we'll get it down tenfold before we even start practicing it as full band. You know what I mean? And that's...
Oh yeah. No, honestly, it was such a blast to do it like that. And like Andy and Dylan, they wouldn't even have heard these songs before they came over, and then they would like hear me like playing it, and they're like, oh, I kind of have an idea for that, and then they'll just do it.
I honestly love writing like that.
It's the coolest. So
Striped Sweater came about.
Wait, what?
No, we have a song called Striped Sweater that we're working on for a new band that we wrote, oh my god, 5 years ago. Something like that. It
was an Elena Avenue song transferred into our new band, Louis on Tour.
Our bassist, we were just sitting in a room, and our bassist just starts jamming a riff, and I come up with something. Within 15 minutes, we had jammed an entire song, out of nowhere. It wasn't even a written riff by the bassist. He was just jamming on it like we were just a little bored. And then it turned into something that we actually ended up recording. It was really cool.
That's the thing. It's like it's almost like there's a magic where you should just always have microphones on at all times, because
Yeah.
you never know, like if you're going to be in the middle of a jam session or something like that, you have no idea. There might be something that you're doing that you don't even recognize as being good until you listen back to it. You're like, oh shit, we were really onto something here. And now you have it because you recorded it, but if you didn't, you wouldn't have even thought about it.
Yeah. Well, what I personally, I think we can all agree as on this side of things, when we do a jam session and something sounds really good, and then we finish it, wherever we decide to do that, and then we go back into doing it again, it never sounds as good the second time,
Right.
ever. And
Well, yeah,
it's pretty
if
much
it's
a bummer.
improvised.
Yeah. Because now you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's no, there's no real flow to it anymore. You've now made it structurally, and it just,
It's like transferring it to feeling into a more logical kind of like thinking about it, and it fucks it up.
and that's called science.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's called science.
Music science. Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing about COVID, kind of, we were in the middle of doing our second album called David Bowtie, and we had recorded like a few songs from January to March, then COVID hit, and then we just kind of took a break, and not completely. Basically, my producer Josh, like, I'll write songs and send it his way, and he'll just do everything himself in the studio. But it's surprisingly been pretty good. But it's just what's been kind of nice though about it's weird to say this. What's been kind of nice about the pandemic is that it's kind of given me time away from the album, because before I was almost like, I was just kind of like, all right, this song is good, let's see if we can do something with it. This song is good, let's see if we can do something with it. But now I'm more looking at things like, oh, how do I really want the vibe of this second album to be? And what's cool is we're kind of like, we're having a mix of like some of the songs have like a tonal similarity to the first album, but some of them are going to have like new wave elements from the 80s, and like I'm going to try to I don't know, eventually try to get like a saxophonist so we can get like a more like Fame David Bowie kind of vibe on a song or two. But yeah, I'm really just trying to get like a quote unquote cool vibe on this one.
I think you should do a ska album that no one likes.
Honestly, I have thought about doing ska songs.
He would like it.
I would like it. I'd be the
love
only
ska.
one. I'm a big fan too. Straight A Manifesto.
Yeah.
Sex with all of them.
Oh yeah.
Can we need a sponsor for this?
Authority Zero.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, please.
Dude, get Authority Zero.
That'd be badass. They live here. We could try.
I've seen them live on accident once. I was at a pub in Chandler that they play often, and I didn't know that. I was with a friend who personally knows the lead singer. And
Is that the night that we went to the?
Were you there? Was that it?
It was like a St. Patrick's Day event or something.
Yeah.
It was with this chick that you were dating and like a bunch of random people that we had never met before.
Not a virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were just there. We didn't meet them because I don't know why. I don't really remember, but
I think
he's just busy. It turns out your friend doesn't know him.
He takes the mic. Hey, I just wanted to meet you really quick. Sorry to interrupt your set. Very nice.
The vocalist was doing like an acoustic performance that night.
It was pretty cool. So anyway, Authority Zero. They're from here. I have a shirt. Figured it.
Make it happen. Make it happen on this podcast. I'll watch
Do
it.
you have a decanter of coffee over there right now?
Here is Mesa, Arizona, by the way. They're from Mesa.
What's that?
Authority Zero. They're from Mesa.
trash.
Yeah. They're one of those bands that happen to have made it from here.
Psycho Stick's here from here too.
Oh yeah, Psycho Stick.
All right, the rest of this podcast is just us naming bands that are from Arizona.
Job for a Cowboy.
Are they from here?
I think
Playboy
so.
Man Baby.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Baby Metal's from
Andrew
here.
Jackson Jihad.
Oh yeah.
He's a
yeah.
teacher
JJ
here,
now.
dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's a history
What is he?
teacher.
History?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And he's a jihad.
A Jihad.
History, whatever.
And an Andrew Jackson.
All right, so let's talk about things that you don't normally talk about. Like, what do you do when you're not doing professional shit?
Sit around and play video games.
What do you
That's
play?
not an interesting subject.
No. All right, come on, man. Let's talk about it. I
All
went
right.
20 and 5
Well,
on COD last night.
I
Fuck
don't
you.
play video games, so while you guys talk about that, I'm
So
gonna check
stupid.
the camera.
Are you doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit! Now it's just podcast Jesse Martinez. Yeah, it's just my podcast now.
Jesse's thoughts.
Yeah, you don't want to hear those. You don't want to hear those. Do you watch any Adam Savage on YouTube?
Is that the guy who?
From Mythbusters, dude.
Oh yeah. No, I don't.
So he's got a YouTube channel, and I recommend everybody check it out because everybody sees him. He's a scientist, and he's the Mythbuster, but he's actually a kind of like an at-home engineer. You watch him build stuff. He's got this huge, and he's also a prop maker. So he makes props for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. But he's got this channel I recommend everybody watch where he just shows you the process of building anything, all the things. He's from small things to like big props and stuff like that. It's really cool. I recommend it. Sponsor us, Adam Savage. I don't care who does it, please.
He's just like, wait a minute. I'm listening to this podcast. They must
Also,
have-
one more thing I would like to mention. There's a, you know what? I'm not going to mention it because I don't remember his name right now.
Okay.
Tyler's back.
He brought it up.
Yeah. So you guys want to talk about deplorable facts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So deplorable facts is it was originally me and my friend Roman were just doing like news stories, but then we just decided that we'd probably get more traction if we started like interviewing more interesting people. So
Did you guys release any of that stuff before you dropped the most recent
then we just
episode?
deleted it because it was
Oh.
just like hard against the left. and what we really wanted to do was we wanted to have a show that was more evenly balanced. So we just kind of was like, you know what, we'll leave trashing the left unless it's like well, we also trash the right, but it's like it was
Trash
heavy the left
everyone,
because
yeah.
like not a lot of people are really going after the left on shit, which they could.
We should change that. Fuck you, left.
I kind of agree. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously go against the right because they do a lot of crazy shit too. But it's like the left gets a pass on a lot, especially in the news. But anyway, so yeah, we did have that. I deleted all of it, and I was just like, let's just have this be an interview show. And so right now we're just getting pretty crazy interviews. We didn't have one last week because we were gonna interview. Do you know what a Boogaloo Boy is?
I have heard of the Boogaloo's like a libertarian. It started as like a Facebook page that was like
It's like
just
joke.
talking about a revolution, right?
So it was originally, yeah, I think it was originally a joke. Like they
Yeah.
were just like, yeah, we could,
Probably.
yeah, like all these started. Like Proud Boys was also started as a joke.
Yeah.
But basically the Boogaloo Boys originally they were just like, yeah, we could be like these pro Second Amendment revolutionaries who wear Hawaiian shirts. And like and it's like a play on Electric Boogaloo, that Breaking 2 movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
And they started showing up at some of these protests that were happening in various cities with guns, wearing their Hawaiian shirts.
Dude, people will cling on to anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, people need a tribe. They want to feel like they fit in with other
Should we
people.
all start wearing flannels?
Yeah, we'll both wear flannels at the same time. It'll be our
The
tribe.
Flannel Boys.
Yeah, flannel girls.
Flannel boys and girls. We don't.
Yeah, there you go.
discriminate.
Flannel people.
Just flannel people. And we have strong political opinions.
If you're not wearing a flannel, you're against us.
So we were going to interview a Boogaloo Boy because we had a connection to it last week, and then he got arrested and put in jail for vandalism.
That makes it even more interesting. Now you have to interview.
Go to the jail through the bars. Just be like, talk to us about how stupid you are right now.
I would assume he's out by now. I hope, and I hope that we get the interview for next Friday. But I think it's gonna be one of those things where like he's probably not gonna have his name out there. He may not have video in the interview, which is all fine. It's gonna be interesting though. I'm very curious about it. Anyway, the Boogaloo Boys. Not only are they like this libertarian pro Second Amendment group, they also are varied. Where it's like you have one group of Boogaloo Boys. Well, say it's like a 50 to 100 person community of Boogaloo Boys. They're pro BLM, they're pro Antifa, they're like pro defunding the police, and that will be this group of Boogaloo Boys. Then, say like a couple cities over, you can have a completely separate group of Boogaloo Boys who are white supremacists, who are like hardcore militia groups, and then you can have another Boogaloo Boy group who carries guns. All of them are pro Second Amendment, but they'll carry guns and stuff like that, and they just want to protect cities. So you have like, it's very strange that they're all under this one umbrella of Boogaloo Boys.
There's like no consistency at all. That's so weird.
Well, I mean, you could have the same conversation about Antifa though. Like, it's a decentralized movement of individuals, so they're bringing their own beliefs, their own opinions on political concepts. Like, some of them are completely in favor of defund the police. Some of them are so far into defund the police that they want to literally abolish the police. Some of them probably don't know enough about it to really say something like that, but they are in favor of defund the police. Some of them supported Joe Biden. Some of them supported Bernie Sanders. Like, those are different wings of the Democratic Party.
100%. And then you also have, yeah, you're exactly right. Because then there's also Antifa members who are kind of just there to loot. And there's also Antifa members who
Opportunists are everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like, BLM is pretty consistent in what they're preaching and what they're doing.
Supremacists too. Let's give it to them as well, because they know what they want. It's not good, but they're consistent at least.
Who's that?
The supremacists. Very consistent. Those guys.
Well, they're consistent, and
we don't like what they're saying, but they know what they want.
They know what they want. Yeah, for sure.
Credit where credit's due.
It's unfortunate that they're like muddying the Boogaloo Boy waters, but yeah. Yeah, and in that interview, we were talking to Alex Laurie, who's a photojournalist who covered like the Kurds and Turkey conflict in Syria. He covered Iraqi protests last year, I think also this year. And he like ran into Kyle Rittenhouse on the night Kyle Rittenhouse killed two people. And if you look at footage, it's seemingly in self-defense, but he shouldn't have really been there, in my opinion.
That's a pretty popular opinion. He was too young to be carrying the weapon. He shouldn't have been there with it in the first place. No one asked him to be there.
Well, from what I understand, there were businesses who were like calling for help, but it's like, why were they calling him? I don't know. But
hello, 17-year-old boy. Would you please come with your assault rifle? We need you really bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My main issue with the entire thing is that the mother was like, I'm going to drive this 17-year-old kid who's my son
over state lines with a gun to this town.
This seems like deja vu. Have we talked about this on the podcast before?
Ryan and I talked about it on episode 20.
I've had this exact conversation with 17 people because everybody agrees. First off, it's the mother's fault. She is the one that needs to be telling him, no, you cannot go to the city with an assault rifle.
I mean, legally, he is a minor. It is the parents' fault.
That's child endangerment at that point.
Yeah, and and like I used to be pretty like against Kyle completely on this, and then once I saw more footage on it, it was a little bit more muddied. And then,
if you were in that situation, you had a gun, other people had guns, and they were chasing you down, like it's kind of a life or death situation, I could see rationalizing killing somebody.
And I also see his point of view of being there to protect businesses, because there's all these. Here's like what the main issue I have with like, there's a lot of people who'll be like, oh, okay, well, look, you guys are bitching about Antifa, like throwing Molotov cocktails through like these businesses' windows. They have insurance, and it's like, you don't know that. You don't know that this small business has insurance. You're just making an assumption. And
I think Alex mentioned that on your episode.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this. And like so it's one of those things where it's like, have you ever heard of like, someone buying a new car and they're just like, forget the gap insurance? That is probably the same thing that you find in small businesses. Yep. So yeah, I don't agree with the narrative that like, oh, well, we shouldn't feel bad about like these small businesses because they have insurance and they'll pay for everything. It's like, well, first of all, that's a messed up way of looking at things. They shouldn't have their businesses torn down or broken into or anything like that. And at the same time, insurance takes forever. Like Alex was saying on this podcast, insurance takes forever to go through. You can't just assume that
the next day is not going to be like, here's your insurance money. Somebody's at your door. It takes time to process everything.
Yeah, and like think about a family who, let's say they were like Kurds and they came to America.
Can we talk about cheese curds for a second? Oh my God,
we'll be on that, Jess. That's next. But But let's just talk about like let's say this is a family of Kurds who come over to America and they're like, oh, finally we're out of this like war infested area, and we have this shop. Say we sell like mattresses or something, and they're just like, we have this mattress shop, and like this is the American dream. We set up this shop, and it's just like, oh, 1 week later, now the front window display is broken. Like there was a fire inside of the store, and it's just like went from one war zone to another.
Right. Yeah, he was also mentioning photojournalism in the Middle East, which sounds like he was comparing the civil unrest to protests and riots in the Middle East, and that was a fascinating dichotomy. Yes, thank you. Just having lived both of those experiences, being physically there, because like we can have our opinions, but we weren't there.
Quick update. If you guys are doing any holiday shopping right now, Vans is out of everything.
What? This is not a sponsorship for Vans.
No, not Vans. It could be. Let's talk about it. But no, just got a text message. Don't go to Vans. Hit up a Zoomies or something like that.
Thanks for the update, Vans.
This has been a Jesse Martinez Christmas update.
Vans was like, well, we were going to sponsor your thoughts, but...
Telling people not to come to our store. You don't have anything.
Golden opportunity.
That's right.
Squandered.
Squeezing in there. About those cheese curds.
Yeah, I mean, they're delicious.
So, if anybody...
Yeah, the people...
Oh, you really?
Right.
So you've had the best cheese curds there is to offer.
I mean, I probably did. I was there till I was 6, but I probably did.
Maybe, yeah. Who's not feeding their 6-year-old kid cheese curds?
I was raised on that for 6 years.
Who needs to poop ever? Don't ever do it. It's disgusting.
Not Wisconsin's.
No, they don't. You guys are probably the most constipated state on the planet.
That, or we've become so evolved and adapted to it that like we don't
cheese. It did not digest. It's just cheese. There's even still some breading.
Shredded, raining.
Shredded. It's dry too. Nothing happened. It just shredded.
You grow a portion of the stomach that actually starts reusing.
Can we also talk about? I'm going to bring this up really quick. I know this isn't. This is your thoughts, but here's my thoughts for a second.
You already had your thoughts.
I'm doing
you told
more.
us about Vans.
Cheese.
That's
everyone's thought, though. Yum. During the COVID thing, a thing happened that I was not aware of until 5 days ago. This probably happened a few months ago. Aliens exist factually now?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What the fuck?
I know, it's pretty
No one is talking about
Wait,
this.
is there actual evidence?
Yes, the Pentagon came out with some pretty solid stuff.
Well, it was like video evidence of fighter jet footage, right?
Saw that, but there's more
that's
besides that, too.
That's a huge conversation. But
touch on it a little.
So David Fravor, who I think is his name, he was I think a commander or something like that in the Navy, but it was like some portion of the Navy where they would like fly airplanes and shit. I don't know, and I don't even know how that makes sense. But anyway, and he was flying and he saw something on the radar that like was moving way faster than anything a man-made craft that we know of can move. And so they were following it, and like they saw it went from like this point to like, I think it was like 100 miles or something, some other direction, like the blink of an eye. And they were like, what the hell is this? So they followed it, and like they got like, I want to say, I think he said it was like within like 100 feet of this craft that like didn't have propulsion engines. It just, the way they described it, and like it kind of coincides with what, what's his name? Bob
Dylan, yeah, he talks a lot about this.
Yeah, Bob Dylan, and all of his songs he's talking about. I forgot the guy's name, but he's like this physicist who's on Joe Rogan's podcast, and so was David Fravor. But he was talking about how like he actually studied these alien crafts and studied like these alien engines.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and basically what he would say is that like they don't use propulsion; they use a gravitational field that they create around the craft, and it lined up a lot with what David Fravor was saying he saw on this craft, because the craft would be like above the water and there wouldn't be any sort of like ripples in the water or anything like that. It was just silent, and it would just move silently up in the air, and there was no motor going on. So basically the idea is that like they use gravity to kind of slingshot themselves like different places.
Yeah. Now there's also speculation that they've made some sort of contact, though what that is has not been released, but there is actual pretty solid proof and evidence that this is happening.
From what I understand, and like who knows?
Rachel, can you fact check that?
Thank you, Rachel. I've never met you, but you sound cool.
So there was like this Israeli scientific advisor or something from the Israeli government who said that both the Israeli government and the U.S. government are in contact with a quote-unquote galactic federation.
On Mars, there's a base.
There's supposedly secret aliens on Mars.
What the fuck, Land Rover?
And the dark side of the moon too, right?
Yes, yeah. They're just all, the Land Rover almost got footage where they're just like hit under a rock.
Yeah. Oh shit. So all those memes were definitely true then. Oh my god. Maybe it's the aliens making it.
You know, if we
Just
just
sending it
like
down.
if we just had the balls, like remember when all those memes were happening where it was just like we're gonna raid Area 51.
Area
If we
51,
had
yeah.
just done it,
We should've.
like we should have. Like
Hey, were you there?
no,
Yeah, me neither.
no. I'm a hypocrite for saying this.
Oh, for sure.
But no, I do think that like that would have been interesting. Like if that actually occurred, where say like thousands upon thousands of people, that should have been a protest that happened.
I agree. So that's pretty crazy. I just wanted to bring it up because I literally heard about it, and then there's nothing. No one's talking about this. This is big things. We've been wanting this to happen since the beginning of time, and now here it is, and everybody's just like, whatever, aliens, fuck off.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, the reason why we aren't accepted into
I fucked up.
what'd you do?
Camera's only doing 12 minutes.
This camera's only doing 12 minutes.
Oh no. Okay.
It's gonna be a choppy episode.
Yeah, but we'll get at least
Continue.
So
It's not about him. It's about you.
okay. So well, have we heard anything about like these like is this like a crop circle thing where people are just putting these up? Like what is the monolith thing?
Oh shit! So
like
I don't know. I have no idea, but I did see somebody come out saying that there are people making the monoliths.
Okay.
A guy came out and said that he's doing a lot of them. It's on YouTube. You can look it up, but he tells you why he's doing it. So if, at least for a few of them, there is a man putting up monoliths, as far as I know.
A manolith.
A manolith, yes.
Yeah, a womanolith, or Jamaican-olith, yeah, monolith.
So one thing though that they talked about where they're what's being reported is the reason as to why this quote unquote galactic federation isn't accepting us into their club is because mankind isn't like ready.
I agree.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what the criteria is.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Like, are they a peaceful? Are we not angry enough? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm willing to bet that's not it.
yeah. Mad civilization.
Yeah, I don't. I'm really curious what it is. Maybe there's like one of those things where there's like, well, maybe if they figure out like how to travel like 3 million years.
It's one of those things where it's like your boyfriend lives in another like city. It's like, I don't want to drive you every time.
Right.
Like you gotta be able to come here before this works for us. You know?
I don't think we're doing very well living in this closed system. So why let these people into this government organization if they can't exist within their own closed system?
Then I think, how did we communicate? There's a language. There's apparently not a language barrier.
I wonder if
Yeah, what language are they using?
did you guys ever watch or read watch the movie or read the books Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah.
You
I've
remember
seen
the
the movie.
Babblefish?
Where it translates.
Yeah,
Is
like
that
you just
right?
kind of
Yeah.
pop like this little fish in your ear, and like it would translate basically any alien language.
Maybe.
So I was like, maybe they have something like that, and maybe there was a way to communicate. I don't know.
Created
It's
by
all
Google.
Yes, yeah. Well, Google does have that one thing that
Yeah,
It does have that one thing. Yeah.
Google-
definitely. Yeah.
It's like the Plus headphone thing.
That
or
one thing
whatever
by
they're coming
Google.
out with that
Trademark.
it will translate in real time.
Maybe it's that. But then also,
Google just secretly has that as like an option, but it's like only for government officials.
yeah, careful. What was it doing here? Is a big question that I don't think will ever be answered for me personally. I'm sure they know. But you see these things all the time. What do we have that they want? Why are they here? Why was that ship just flying through the air randomly? Where was its destination? Why was it here in the first place?
Why do they have like other than observation? Like why?
Well, I mean, okay, let's think about Earth is a carbon-based planet. We have resources that probably not a lot of planets have. So I would imagine there is some incentive to have us in a galactic federation. Uh,
Arguably, most planets don't have.
right, exactly. We're
Fuck.
kind of an anomaly in that regard.
Yeah, that's
We're in the fuck. What's it called? It's not like the
Andromeda
Goldilocks
galaxy?
zone or something, but the fuck. Ryan's mentioned it. There's like a sweet spot in a solar system where a planet can exist, not too close to the sun, but not far enough
Oh,
away.
wait. So it can inhabit like
life,
carbon-based life.
Now we're also not the only planet that can inhabit carbon-based life. We found other planets that can do it, that are the exact distance and so on and so forth, that have trees and just what we can see is water.
Well,
and
we've
so on.
also transported like microorganisms to Mars and the Moon too, right?
Yeah.
So potentially they can survive there, and life will
eventually
going.
flourish.
learn to evolve.
If I had to guess, the reason as to why we aren't invited in this club doesn't so much have to do with war and doesn't so much have to do with our attitudes or anything like that. I think it has to do with our science not being necessarily ready to, like, say, travel to a distant planet in like the blink of an eye or whatever it is. And it seems like they're working more and more towards having our technology at least be better in that regard. And I think that's probably it, but that's obviously just speculation.
Aliens,
Man.
right here. This. They made this.
The cell phone.
Yeah, fuck it, everything. They
There
made
was
everything.
there was a theory. I'm not sure if this was an Alex Jones rant or not, but there was a theory.
God damn
It's
it.
turned into it.
But there was a theory where it's just like a lot of our technology that we have today existed like decades ago, and we're just kind of like slowly dripping it into society.
I've thought about that a few times.
Yeah, and we've like gotten it from, like, say, alien technology is like the theory.
If that's the case, I say fuck it. Like, why don't we have spaceships that can go to other planets already? Like, let's do it.
Intimate death, I think, is the issue.
Well, look,
Virtual reality and telecommunications to other planets and stuff.
one thing that like I disagree with Trump on a ton of things, but one thing that like I thought was interesting was the left was like so we're bashing Trump about the Space Force, and I was like, why are you bashing Trump about the Space Force?
No, it's like funding NASA, but like, sure, it's a military, a section of the military, but NASA has been fighting for funding for a long time. This is a reason to fund space.
Yeah, and it's like I'm sure I'm kind of
like Jesse pointed out, like this is funded by, or created, I guess, like the technology for cell phones. That's from space travel, like trying to get to other planets.
We just use those
Your
resources
computers-
to do other things for everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
And it trickled into business and the economy. So now we have phones that we can
Capitalism
actually
isn't
afford.
always bad, right?
Yeah, and it's one of those things
We're
where,
doing this because there was funding to these government organizations, and now it's available to the public. So it's not a bad idea, unless we go to war. Then it's a terrible idea.
Right. Well, but at the same time, it might be a good idea just to prepare for war in case something does happen.
We
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Russia, China, India, what other countries? The European Union.
But and one thing that's kind of what I think is kind of short-sighted is like what people are like, oh my God, he's doing the Space Force thing and he's not even fixing like the water in Flint, and it's just like, motherfucker, where were you when Obama didn't fix that shit either? Like, but
Yeah.
it's a whole other conversation. But like, but when it comes to the Space Force, I almost feel like if it wasn't like focused on just the United States and we had a Space Force where it was like we had like the international governments involved in it too, it's almost like if we all kind of came together with a Space Force, it could kind of create like a unity worldwide in a way.
Dude, taboo. It's taboo. Yeah, don't even.
No,
like-
that's actually what is happening with the International Space Station. Like, there's Russian, Chinese, American scientists, European Union scientists, like fuck, what is that country? The Ukraine has been like shipping our astronauts up to space, or like SpaceX, like companies.
Ukraine
doing-
sponsor us, please.
Ukraine sponsor us.
Hunter Biden's like,
we
oh,
need to
I like
be-
this podcast.
We need to be working together collectively, especially like with science. It's not like it benefits one country; it benefits everybody.
Benefits me.
But, yeah, everyone.
I don't know how, but that's all I care about.
Oh, you know how.
That's how
Space sex toys.
space
That's how it's gonna be.
SpaceX sex toys.
Expect.
You just got business on your hands.
I think so too.
SpaceX sex toys.
Yes.
SpaceX sex toys. Sponsor us.
They're just dildos shaped like
Become a business and sponsor us, please.
they're dildos shaped like dildos, but they're actually spaceships.
Whoa, and they have like little satellites.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're probably at an hour.
I'd say this is an hour. Okay, before we go, I'd like to say a couple of words.
Yes.
Troy, thank you for being here. Or being there, but also here.
Yeah,
kind of,
here,
that
there, and
whole thing.
everywhere.
This was a very special episode of COVID Your Thoughts.
Yes.
Hit that like button. This is going on YouTube, as it usually does. Subscribe to us so that you get that little ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling when our videos come out, which is not very often. And
That ding-a-ling-a-ling.
yeah. And just watch us because we're cool and you hang out with us if you want. I got a phone number, description.
Make sure to subscribe.
Yeah. I have a fans only page. It's dormant for now, but I'll start when I get followers, Troy.
All right.
All right. Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, so I got Deplorable Facts is a podcast. You can find it on YouTube. I got my Diet Challenger YouTube page. I got Primitive State YouTube page, which we're constantly putting up music, either it be covers or original stuff.
You guys are on Spotify too.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. You can
Ask
find our
Alexa.
first album, Frank Star Rock Zappa, on Spotify. Yeah.
Oh my
And,
god.
before we go, so there's a reason why I chose that name, and it's because there was an interview. I'm a huge Frank Zappa fan, and like there was an interview with Frank Zappa where the guy was just like, "Here we have Frank Star Rock Zappa," and he's like, "Wait a minute," and he's like, "It meant to be Rockstar Frank Zappa." He like messed up. Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, that's kind
That
of
works. I've never heard of Frank Zappa before.
what." Oh, look at Frank Zappa. He has 130 albums, and they're like 95% great.
Wait, were you being serious?
I was pointing at my mustache the whole time.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. I have to look at my TV to see you, and I have to look at my camera to like talk.
Of course I've heard of Frank Zappa. I almost want to walk around without my shirt off most of the time.
Take pictures while sitting on a toilet.
That's right. Or just never,
Well,
whatever.
somebody
All
else has to take those pictures.
Thank you for watching Your Thoughts podcast. This was Troy Thompson.
Thomas.
Nope.
Troy Thompson. I'm related to
Yeah.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah, he is. Tompkins.
Yeah.
Webkins. Sponsor us.
Check us out on Patreon. We've got a variety of different places to find our content: YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcast. We've got a website, yourthoughtspodcast.com.
/gov.
Not gov.
Moving on up.
Your tax dollars are paying for us.
All right, that's it for Your Thoughts podcast. You guys have a good one. Thank you for joining us. Bye, Troy Thompson.
Bye. Later, man.